Thank you very much for coming for this launch of Gera's Imperium Green. This building is something which we are personally extremely passionate about, and we thought that we should invite the media over to talk about what we're doing, because this is truly, I think, a kind of building that hopefully, as we go forward, more and more projects, more and more cities across the country will adopt. I'll start with just telling you one little statistic that's known about the US market. In the US, 65% of electricity is consumed in buildings. 65%. Now in India, we don't have that much cooling, that much heating requirement, so maybe it might be about 45 or 50%. But if we can bring down this energy consumption by 10, 15, 20%, we could really change our energy needs as far as this country is concerned. So from that perspective, we do believe that Gera's Imperium Green is something which we should talk about, is something that we are extremely proud about. And it really comes from three, as a company we follow three level of bottom line. We look at business, we look at the society, and we look at the environment as well. So we follow a triple bottom line approach. And I will talk about some of the impacts as far as society and the environment are concerned with Imperium Green. This presentation is being done in it's a technical subject, but what I've tried to do is try and make it, do the presentation in such a manner that it becomes easy to understand, because it is important that we really together take this initiative forward and really try and see that we can push this, raise the bar on greenness as we go forward. So if you look at our first slide, it really looks at bright sunshine, greenery, a track which doesn't have concrete on it, and this is something where people long for nature today. So we looked at Imperium Green and we said, what's your shade of green? Different people have a different kind of quotient towards how green they want to be. So what I'll talk about is some of the things that we did on energy, some of the things that we did to do with water, the materials that we used. I'll talk about our product, and then there's just 2 or 3 things which I want to say about our company. If we look at energy, we did the following things when we studied this building. So the first thing that we did was we looked at the solar shading. So solar shading is about when the sun falls on the building, it heats up the walls. How do you provide the building into shade so that there's less heat on the walls? So this is a picture. This is a view that was created, a simulation of the sun rising in the east. Going up, you can see the shadow moving, right? The sun moves up to 12 o'clock, and then the sun comes down and sets in the west. And this is taken on the 15th of May. This simulation is 15th of May. Sorry about that. As you know, the sun moves into the southern hemisphere in winter. So we really looked at the simulation. Once again, this time, 15th of January, and you'll see the way the shadow will move. It's much more in the front, because when you look at where the sun is, you can see the sun is far more at the back. So we've actually created these simulated models and then run it through all the various simulations to come to which different area of the building needs to be treated how. As a result of the simulation study, we realized that we should put louvers on the facade of the building. And if you normally look at louvers in a building, they face upward, they face downward. We said we'll do the louvers facing upward. What this does is when the sun is above you, you have less direct sunlight coming in because the louvers are protecting the sun from coming in. When the sun sets and its intensity reduces, you'll get sunlight coming in into the building. We also looked at doing continuous passages, continuous shading. Typically what you see is you'll see a weather shed, what you call a chhajja, above the window. And that's only to protect the rain from the window from the rain. If you do continuous sheds, it provides a sunshade for the entire facade. We did that. We provided a canopy so that it's convenient for shoppers. And if you can see, there's louvers on the front as well. So these are some of the things that we did as far as solar shading is concerned. We then looked at daylighting. Now this is a trade-off, right? The more you put the building into the shade, the less direct light we get inside the building. So you need a trade-off to make, and if you have less light in the building, you have to turn on your lights inside. So there's a balance that's required between shading and daylighting. So then we looked at some of the spaces, and we said, if you see the image on your left, that bright yellow spot inside that shop, and this is done for every single shop, mind you. So this one shop had this bright yellow spot which was a horrible glare inside of the shop. So what we did is we reduced the glazing, we increased some louvers, and this is the revised image where the glare is reduced substantially inside the shop. The heat also gets reduced, therefore the energy consumption reduces. And at the back, where there are windows, once you put blinds, the entire glare problem gets reduced. We also looked at, I'd like to just zoom in into this. If you look at the louvers, these are the louvers here on the north face. Now on the north, you don't have any direct sunlight. On the west, you have the setting sun. So if you look at it closely, you can see that we've got different spaced louvers between the north and the west side. The idea behind this is let light come in where you need the light to come in and block light out where the light needs to go out. We then looked at thermal comfort. Now, here's the thing about thermal comfort. How comfortable you are in a warm environment is determined by three things. One, the actual temperature outside. We know Goa gets really hot in the summer. Two is the humidity, and being by the ocean, we know that humidity levels here are very high. And three is the speed of the wind. Now we can't control temperature and we can't control the humidity. But we can certainly look at controlling the circulation of the air and therefore the wind movement. So we looked at cross ventilation and we said, okay, let's get air to come in, which comes in through windows. No big deal about that. But then we said to create cross ventilation, you need the wind to go outside. But we said if it goes outside, where is it going to go? It goes into the passages. So we then added an air extractor at the end of the passages so that the warm air would then actually go outside. This creates a draft effect where the wind comes in through the windows, goes out through the ventilators, and then goes out through the air extractors. Again, creating a differential feeling of about 1 to 2 degrees. We looked at the kind of glass that you'll have. Now, interestingly, this face, which is before us, this is a west face. And this face is where we've got a showroom facing the main road. Now, clearly, we all know that every retailer, every shop owner wants to have his shop with maximum glass. But this means if you're facing the west, you're going to have the maximum heat coming in as well. So when we did the analysis of the building, we realized that this west face, the entire glass needs to be double glazed. So it prevents the heat from coming in into the building. We then look at what are the materials that we're going to provide. What are the different products that we use so that we can reduce our energy consumption. So the elevators have got variable frequency drives which reduce the startup current. We have lux sensors for the facade lighting. The pumps have auto level water level controllers so that you're not wasting water and you're not wasting energy when you don't need to run the pump. The common areas all have LED lights which consume far less electricity. We're using solar street lights. In the common areas, we've got motion sensors, so if there's nobody there, the light goes off. When somebody walks in, the lights come on automatically. And the outcome of all of this is that this building will consume 16% less energy than a conventional building. This translates into a total of 19,58,000 rupees of saving per year for our customers. Now that's a pretty significant amount when you actually go to quantify it. And imagine this, these savings then are not just for 1 year. These savings continue through the entire life of the building, which is why it's so important for us as developers today to factor in these kind of design interventions so that we save energy not just today, not just in what we do, but what subsequent generations will actually go ahead and consume. I have put up the assumptions for arriving at this calculation. We're looking at offices open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., shops from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., and certain kind of breaks, what has been assumed is kind of put up there. So we're very, very excited with being able to bring down the energy from base case by 16%. We think it's a big, big step forward. We then looked at water, and we said for water, if you look at a normal tap is rated to consume 12 liters of water per minute, to discharge 12 liters of water per minute. Today there are taps which are available, which are far more expensive, which deliver 4 liters per minute. They have aerators in them, so it feels like you're getting more water because it's also delivering air. So it feels like you're getting that pressure on your hand, but actually it's much less water. So we've gone ahead and decided to put those in. The other big intervention that we did, and this is a conventional, just look at these are the same building. This is an image through the duct of the building. Those small little squares are the bathroom windows, right? So in the conventional system, you have water which comes from outside. It goes into your underground tank. From there, the water is then delivered down to your basins and WCs for your flushing and your basin use. That water goes down into your sewage systems and goes away to the city. This is a typical building. What we decided instead is, let's connect the entire downtake to a sewage treatment plant. So we have our own on-site sewage treatment plant in the building. That water then goes up to the overhead tank, and that water, through a separate line, goes only into the flushes. So no human contact with that treated water, but you treat the water and recycle it for flushing. You then take your external line, connect it to the overhead tank, and use that water in the basins. The outcome of this, the low flow taps and the low flow urinals, as well as this water recycling system, is that Gera's Imperium Green will draw 75% less water from the city's resources. 75% less. To my mind, I think this is a huge saving. In addition, we send out less sewage into the city's sewage treatment plants. And therefore, you end up with saving, the city ends up with saving on the sewage treatment costs as well. The other benefit is that, as you are all aware, many buildings today are purchasing water because of the shortage of water from the city's point of view, from the city supply side. So our customers therefore have to buy less water, and there's a saving for them as well. Some of the materials that we've used in the building are also environment friendly. We looked at environment friendly, and we looked at also at occupant health. So wherever you see VOC stands for volatile organic compounds. And if you've ever experienced going into a room and your eyes are burning because of fresh paint, I'm sure everybody's experienced that sometime. That's because of the volatile organic compounds in the paint. So we use lead-free paint, we use low volatile organic compound paints, adhesives, sealants, we're using ceramic and clay tiles, recyclable aluminum louvers. The aerated blocks are one of the things which bring less heat into the building, and therefore they are more environmentally friendly. Ready-mix concrete. This is much more expensive than doing site-mix concrete, but when we talked about the social done, We hope that in the next year and a half, this is exactly what you'll see when you go down the road. And just a couple of things about the company. We've now been in real estate development since 1970. We've been primarily in Pune. Like as Sonia mentioned, we moved into Goa a few years ago. Before this financial year is done, we'll also be present in Bangalore. So we're slowly but surely increasing our presence into other markets. This is our fourth project in Goa. I'm very proud to talk about this one item, which is a 5-year warranty which we give on all our projects. We're the only real estate developer in India which has a written contract on a stamp paper which says that if there is any manufacturing defect with our product, we will fix it at our cost for a period of 5 years. The real estate regulatory bill at the center is talking about, I think, 1 year for certain things and 3 years for certain things. We have a policy of 5 years, no questions asked. Any manufacturing defect, we will take care of. So our values are really trust. We put a lot of emphasis on this: quality, customer first, and innovation. So that's really the end of my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about this or anything else. And once again, thank you for coming. Pato, this is at Mala. So do you know where Yogi Nagar is?
Yeah.
So it's right there.
Like Panjim?
No, much before.
Is it next to that Tata Gera?
It's before the Tata show. Yes, yes.
Before the Tata show. It's on that turn.
Chetan, you want to explain exactly where it is?
It's just next to that big building of Yogi Nagar.
Gera complex ko alag ke.
Exactly.
It's right next to that. Right next to that. So we do believe that this will be treated as Pato extension.
Yogi Nagar. It's a.
No, we are actually launching. We will start construction. We've started mobilizing. It took us a long time to get all the approvals. We now have every single clearance in hand. We've started mobilization. I think we should start work in the next 3 weeks. Post Diwali, all the labor will come in, all the workers will come in, equipment will come in. We need to do piling on site. So we'll start in the next few weeks.
How heavy comparatively the present rate of the flats in the year?
So here's the thing, as far as costing is concerned, unfortunately, these kind of features, today customers are not yet willing to pay. So our products are then priced at whatever offices and whatever showrooms and shops would normally be paid for. And what's interesting is, I'm really glad you asked that, because what we've seen in other cities, including in Pune where we're from, is that the government has started giving incentives to the property owners in the property taxes if there are green features provided in the building. And that is pushing property buyers today to say, do you have green features in the building? So from a pricing point of view, our costs are not going to be anything more. It is a grade A building. It is, it will be amongst the better buildings like we've been doing in Panjim, and the prices will be in the region for that. So it's nothing more than or less than market pricing.
Sandman, how much is affected on construction business? What you are doing?
Sandman in Goa, how much?
Ban on sand.
Construction business.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Sandman.
Ban on sand. How much?
Ban on sand. So look, the sand ban is all it does eventually is that it requires you to either bring it from further away, use alternative material, and all that only increases costs. So it does affect costs. Depending on where, depending what alternative materials you have, but it could affect you by between 30 and 45 rupees a square foot. So you can use crushed sand. That's what we do in Pune, because again, they had a similar kind of problem in Pune. So we do crush the sand actually, and that certainly works as an aggregate alternative in the concrete. And it works for plaster as well.
What
So our pricing is anywhere between, depending which unit you look at, it's between 85,000 and 100,000 a square meter. Cost of the project. So in the region of about 40 crores.
By the time it gets completed, so what could be the rate?
I have no idea. I wish I could answer that question. No, we take a view that we don't speculate in our own properties. So really, all the units in here are available for sale, right? We are extremely buoyant about this location. So I'll tell you about what I think are the positives, right? One, and I think the biggest aspect is that because it's outside of Pato, currently the pricing is lesser than Pato. There's a new bridge which is coming in based on the Kadamba road which comes through. From Kadamba, there's a new road which has opened up, I think about a year ago. That is being extended to connect on to this Mala area. I think that will certainly help people who are occupying Pato, coming in from Karanzalim and beyond, to use that road instead. So I think suddenly this property and shops and offices here will become more on the way than currently where it is. So I think that's going to be one big game changer as far as this building is concerned. Otherwise, beyond that, it's about the economy. Hopefully we'll have a stable government. That's, the joker in the back really. So depending on what happens on that, prices will move accordingly. But really for me to speculate on pricing is just not something that I'm comfortable with. Yes, that's right. That's right. There's been many developers who've come in to Goa, right? The first project that we came here to do, which was Gera's Imperium 1, we took a decision that if we come in to do our first project, we're not going to leave. This was a firm decision that we took. The other decision that we took is that if we're going to be here, then we should produce our, whatever properties we design and build, should be for the Goan customer. And today we have over 90% of our customers are either from Goa or they're of Goan origin. So they may be in Dubai, they may be in the UK, they want a home back here or they want an office back here to invest in. If you go into Gera's Imperium 1 or 2 and look at the name boards, you'll find most of the businesses that own spaces there are Goan. If you go into Gera's Astoria, you'll see that there's very few in Astoria who are from up north, and the reason for this is also that if we decided for the residential building that if you want people to actually live there and enjoy the space as a primary home, you can't mix it with people coming in for a holiday. My 4 friends will come from somewhere in the north, they'll party there. My daughter's living in the same complex. So we decided that let's make this as a project for the Goan customer. We believe this, we've done this, our architects are from here, landscape consultants are from here, my entire team is from here. So we do believe that if you go into a market, you need to then blend with that market and you need to deliver for that marketplace. And I think it's that same philosophy of blending into the local world, so to speak, is Gera's Imperium Green. And because I do believe that Goa has amongst the highest level of green focus amongst its citizens. There are many people here who are active, but there are also many people who are not active, but are certainly have that green flavor, so to speak. Which is why the first slide talked about what is your shade of green. So we do think that this product is really right for this for Goa, and I really hope that our customers embrace something like this. And if more and more people start demanding this, we'll start seeing more and more green buildings. We'll start seeing more and more green buildings. There'll be lesser of a pressure on society and the environment, and I think that that's certainly something that we need to do from a long-term perspective.
You spoke about the local customers.
Yes.
But as a businessman, you need to have all even outsiders need to accommodate. So how will?
Here's the answer to that. Here's the answer to that. We, and it's more important for Astoria, which is a residential development. We didn't do one exhibition, we didn't do one single advertisement in Bombay or Delhi. Right? That was just a philosophy that we took. And I do believe that as a company, we've been here so long, we want to be here for a long time. And I think that in the long run, customers will appreciate this. And that's what gives you repeat business. So yes, I can take a stand of saying, chalo, sab jagah market kar lo, and we'll sell it, there's no problem. But in the long run, if it's not a good community, people will not be happy there. So it is a short term, little bit of pain, but I think in the long run, it pays off far more.